Hey guys, welcome back, and in this video we'll be taking a look at how we can create a slider menu and how we can use callback functions. So we'll start by creating an Xcode project. Open up Xcode, new Xcode project, single view application, and we'll just call this slide menu, create it. Now if I just take it in full screen, there we go. Expand it up, yeah. Head over to the main storyboard. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to take a UI view, drop it here, and we're going to constrain it in a way that it's inside the view but it's down here, where it's not visible to the eye in the screen. But then it'll be hard for us to program it, right? So we'll take a UI container view instead. If you look at the holds a child view controller. So that means we have another view controller for us, as you can see right here. We'll make it that big. That's going to change its size accordingly. Hopefully, yeah, there we go. So let's just kind of make it a good size. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, that looks pretty nice. And instead of using a regular view controller, what we're going to be doing is instead using a UI table view controller. So if I get rid of that normal UI view controller and take a UI table view controller, we're going to get the same big normal sized iPhone 11 font size. But if we control drag from this to here and select the embed segue, it'll make it the child view of the container view. So see if I make it bigger, yeah, so it updates. But we're going to go probably that much for now. Yes, looks like you have to interact with it, but anyways, select that. We'll give a reuse identifier for this prototype cell. Cell, just like that. Then we'll just place some constraints on this. So these constraints have to be the way they are placed now in order for this method to work. So 0, 0, fix the height, make it 300, and set the bottom constraint to negative 300. So that way, as you can see, it is exactly by its height below the view. And we're going to be using this constraint, changing this constraint constant in order for this to move upward. But now, as you can see, we have this table view controller. You can do whatever you want with it. And yeah, so let's take our assistant editor, or whatever it's called now. Take the view controller.swift, and then we're going to drag in our bottom constraint. We're just going to call this bottom anchor. That's what we're going to be using for now, for the most part actually. So what you have to basically do is create a boolean value telling, oh wait, I just forgot. We need to drag in a UI button. Oh wait, I'm in the closure. Okay, fine. There we go. UI button. There we go. Drop it there. Take a good size. Just call this toggle menu. Just drop it here and call it toggle. And hopefully that made sense, and that's about it. So we're going to first just change the bottom anchor's constant to 0 so that let's actually just run this. So if I just say bottom and curve dot constant is equal to 0 when I tap this toggle button. So again, it will just push the bottom the whole container view upward. It is taking quite a while. Let's wait. Attaching, running. There we go. iPhone 11 Pro Max. Yep, there we go. Toggle menu, and that was very quick, but the table view is right here. I'm using the default command zoom function in a Mac to achieve this. So you can see there's a table view right there. So we can't really hide it now, right? So we're going to create a Boolean value. It's going to be a bool, which is going to be set to false for now. Okay. So actually, I forgot to change that to a UI button. So we'll just say let tab. So basically, what we're going to do is use this is menu show. We'll come to that button part a little later. It's not that important. We'll first make sure when we tap it the next time, the menu showing is going to get toggled to true, and that's when it's going to be shown. So each time we tap it, we want to toggle. So we'll say is menu showing toggle. If you're using Xcode 9 or below, you will say is menu showing is equal to the opposite of is menu showing, and that's going to handle this part, the toggle function for you. Now we're going to say let constant is equal to is menu showing. According to this, we're going to change something. So for now, Xcode is going to scream at me, but for now, I'll just put that at constant. Now we're going to say is menu showing, and we're going to use a ternary expression or operator. So we put a question mark and a colon. Whatever, this is the condition. Yeah. Right now, it doesn't seem like much, but it's basically saying is menu showing. You could say equals false. That is a condition, but if we just say is menu showing, it just means we're referring to the true state. So if menu showing is true, then what do we want to do? We want to change the constant. So if it's true, we need to show it, right? So it will be 0. But if it is false, which means we need to hide it, it will be minus 300. Now I think, alright, let's make that a CT float. That should get fixed there. So now when I run this, hopefully it gets toggled. So to revise what we did, we created this variable called is menu showing. We toggle it every time this toggle button is tapped, that is this button. And then according to that, we use a ternary operator, an expression, in order to define the value of this constant, which is the constant for the bottom anchor. So we're saying we put in the condition is menu showing. This basically you can say equals false, which means we're referring to the false state of is menu showing. But if we just say is menu showing, it's the same as doing this. But this just saves space, so we usually don't do that. So if is menu showing is true, oops. How can I bring that back? So if menu showing is true, it means we need to show it, right? I mean, according to what's happening. Then if that's not the case, then we need to hide it. And then we're setting the constant to the bottom. Hopefully that works. Click on toggle menu. There is our table. You click on toggle menu again, and it's gone. So that is working beautifully. Now we need to animate this, right? So we will say UI view animate 0.3 and the animations. Don't put this bit into here because that would be wrong. That wouldn't work. So what you would basically be doing is, instead of putting this in here, you will just say self. Since we're in the closure using self.view.layout if needed, and this is going to basically just animate the movement of it. Yeah, after we do this, layout if needed will be called. um, that's because we need to do some change in the view. So if you just look at what this does, question mark, lays out the subviews immediately if layout updates are pending. It would be pending in this case, like when we set it, it's pending, you need to do it. So immediately the next line of code, we animate this setting everything up. So we have like a lot of changes to this, everything will be animated together. So let's see what happens. Click on toggle, and it actually kind of animated itself, but you couldn't really notice it, and that is because you back for instance. And now if I run this, you'll be able to see the view getting animated. And yeah, beautiful. That's working just like we needed to. Um, yeah, so that's about it for making a menu. We can also configure this menu by just um, creating another subclass for the. This is anyways a view controller, right? So you can subclass this view control table view controller, and connect those two up, and what, instead of talking, I'll just show you how it's done. Command N, go for a touch class, not UI label but a UI table view controller. Just call it table view controller, doesn't matter. Save it, and here let's get rid of all this nonsense, and we will use did. Oops. Only number of, why isn't it auto completing? Let's see. Okay, let's try to get that back. Oh, I deleted everything. I see. Okay. Instead of returning 0, we will return 1 for now. You could, of course, create a dynamic cell or whatever. We don't even need this one. What we do need here, we put one here. Self. What is wrong with this thing? You know what? Let me just stop this and relaunch Xcode because it is not responding. Slide menu. Get that out of the way. Now let's just sell. There we go. Cell for row at index path. This is the one. We'll create a cell. We'll just dequeue a cell from the table view. It's not dig, but TQ is also identify. I think we named it cell, and we'll just use the index path that is passed in from the function. And we'll say cell.text label.text is equal to dismiss for now, and just return this one cell. So the number of times the cell for what will be called depends on what number you put in here. Okay. Hopefully that works. Yeah. Okay, so let's just go to the storyboard. Select that. Head over here. The identity inspector, we'll just use a table view controller. Hopefully I call it cell. Yeah, so let's run this. And now we should see one cell called which has a a label on it saying dismiss. So let's wait. Oh, toggle menu. There we go, dismiss. So now we will be doing using something called callback functions in order to actually dismiss the table view when we tap on dismiss. So now really nothing is happening, right? So we will just say var callback function it's going to take in nothing. This is basically how you call a function, right? You give parentheses, which is what and all it takes in, and then it returns something. Yeah, usually when it doesn't return anything, we just leave it blank, but since we're creating a variable, we have to use this. So we have an error. It says class table controller has no initializers, and that is because this right now does not have a defined value. If we put an exclamation mark, that will just vanish. Yeah. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to wrap this up inside another set of brackets and put a question mark. It basically means this could be nil, which means this is not worry about that anymore, which means it's fine if this one does not have any value. Let's use a did select row at, and we'll just print out row selected from command R, I meant not command 1. So now when we tap on the dismiss, we should see row selected on the bottom right side. Toggle, row selected, beautiful. You know what, if you don't want all this, I do this a couple of times in my tutorials, but short again. Go to slide menu option, click it, click on plus OS underscore activity underscore mode, and you just say disable. And that's going to take care of all this naughty stuff coming down here. So now we need to find out exactly which cell the user has tapped on. So we will say guard let cell tapped is equal to table view dot visible dot cell for row at the index path that is being passed in from here, and else, which basically means we don't have anything we're going to return out. Instead of running out so early, we'll do one more thing. Return, yeah. We'll also check that the cell which has been tapped and its text label and its text, you know what, we'll just take care of this later. If it's equal to dismiss. If that is also false, then just return out of here. Yeah, then that's going to take care of that for now. Hopefully, there we go. So now if it is dismissed, we're going to come down here. We're going to say guard let action is equal to callback function else return, not return but return, and we'll just call our action just like that. The reason we're creating this is because callback function is an option. Now how can we set the value of callback function? We don't have the bottom anchor of this. There are multiple ways of doing this, but I'm going to show you the simplest method. You could create a delegation or something, or you could create a link between these two, just using a variable like this, or link controller optional, and in the view load we can say link dot we will just say call that function is equal to link dot, you could do something like that, but that's kind of a little bit not required, because you could do something much more simpler, which is using callback functions, of course. So if you remember in the main storyboard, we used an embed segue to do this. So we're going to just give identifier of segue to this, okay, to this segue right here. So here we're going to use the prepare for segue. We're going to check if the segue dot identifier is equal to segue. If it is, then we're doing the embed segue. So for now we'll just print out called, just to make sure that it actually has been called. Toggle menu. Now we should see call. There we go. And you don't see all that garbage because we disabled it. But anyways, this is working. So we'll just have to say let test VC destination VC is equal to segue dot destination. And as you can see, it's a UI view controller, but not a table view controller. So we're going to try to cast this as a table view controller. Or instead of using that, we'll go with the question mark because that is just more safe. Not return, normally typing return. Yep. And all we have to say now is dest vc dot callback function is equal to. Now we just say is menu showing is equal to false, and then we say let constant is equal to minus 300, 400 to 300, and then we say bottom anchor dot constant is equal to constant, and then UI view dot animate 0.3 seconds animations is self dot view dot layout if needed. So that should be it. Hopefully this works. It failed. Let's see what went wrong. Oh, okay. Okay. Hopefully that's it. That's it. So now when we click on dismiss, it gets dismissed. So yeah, so instead of making a gray mark up here, we can say if it is the cell that's tabbed, then we say table view dot deselect row at index bar animated false for now. So now we know instead of saying that gray mark, he will just not see that gray mark if it is dismissed. That's it. So now you don't see the gray mark. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and like to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.